I'm ready when you guys are. Our first meeting, MJ and I talked about the band. Needed great musicians to play Michael's music, but what was most important to me was to have a family atmosphere.
Go with it! Go with it! Jam!
I think it's one of the best bands that Michael's ever had.
Each individual has a goal of wanting to do the best and play the best that they can.
I'm a huge fan. I've got the best seats in the house, basically.
I tell everybody, on this show, you hit your head on the ceiling. There is nothing higher, nothing greater. You can't go no higher. You can wind up with a flat head.
Our first meeting, MJ and I talked about the band. I said, okay, so you're a dancer. The drummer is the most important thing for the dancer. So he chose his drummer, who was Jonathan Moffett, Colin Foote. He's been with him a long time. He told me, when Foote plays, I feel like dancing. I said, that's your drummer.
My stage name is Sugarfoot, and Michael calls me Foot for 30 years. He just said, Foot. I really started playing drums at 6. By the time I turned 10 years old, I was playing with my brother's band in nightclubs in New Orleans. I played with a fast bass drum technique, and the leader of the band said, he's got a sweet foot, real sweet foot. I know we would call him Sugarfoot, and I hated it. Later on, band members from another band came out to California and had me on a tape and met Jermaine Jackson. And Jermaine asked, who's that on drums? And he said, Sugarfoot. So it preceded me out here, and then I wound up being with his brothers. Most of it was intuitive. I feel what they want. I feel what Michael would do, and I could hit accents with his dance moves, and he loved that. And he said, nobody's ever hit kind of accents. How did you know I was going to do that spin? How did you know I was going to stop? How did you know I was going to throw my arm up and you hit an accent? How you like you reading my mind? Because I really could feel what he would do, and we had a chemistry that was just magic. You know, it's beyond just physical world, and it was just a connection we had. That's why he always wanted me with him.
I have my go-to guys that I know can get it done in an instant. Sherry Johnson, one of my dearest friends, great percussionist. He was an easy call.
I never really thought that I was going to be Michael Jackson's first percussionist ever, but I did feel that eventually I was going to work with Michael Jackson. It's really amazing and inspiring to work with him, to watch him work, and the experience playing with the rest of the guys in the band is really special. Each person here is so specialized at what they do, and they bring with them a long history of experiences and expertise to their specific instrument. It's just a great group to be a part of.
Alex Al, bassist. There's nobody, in my opinion, that's better. Great bassist, and he plays keyboard bass equally.
I'm from Detroit, Michigan, in Motown. So my dad played trumpet in the orchestra. My mom sang and played in church. And my brothers were both rock musicians and jazz musicians. So I kind of came up in a musical family. I didn't really have a choice. It was like, what instrument am I going to play so I can be in the band so I can save the money? So I ended up playing several different instruments before I started playing bass. And bass was a blessing because it really just allowed me to express myself the way I needed to. One of my biggest influences is the great Motown bass player James Jamerson. So, you know, when I was younger, I love a lot of bass players, from Jaco Pastorius to Stanley Clarke. But the older I get and more seasoned of a player, I realize that James Jamerson really said it all. I know from working with him over this last decade that he knows the way the hand clap's supposed to sound. He knows the rhythm on the hi-hat from the drum chair. He knows when the bass keyboard sound is right or whether it's the right guitar sound. So it's a challenge. There's no resting on the gig.
I actually found Orianthe, our guitarist. She's from Australia, and I actually found her on MySpace. Michael said, I need a hot guitarist who can play, and she can really shred and play and look great. And so I put the feelers out, and my friends came back with Ori like 5-6 times. So I found her on MySpace, wrote her a note. I'm Michael Bearden, Michael Jackson's musical director. This is the truth. This is not a lie.
Getting that email was just so surreal, and I went in and played for Mike Bearden and then MJ that night, and it was insane. When he came in, he walked through the door, and they cranked up the Beat It solo, and he said, "Can you play that solo whilst walking with me?" And I said, "Totally." I didn't know if I could, but I was like, "Totally." I started playing guitar when I was 6. My dad's a guitar player, so there's guitars all around the house. And I just picked one up one day and haven't put it down. I was obsessed by it and just listened to a lot of records and just tried to learn all the solos. Yeah, I just love it. Black or White was a lot of fun. I thought it was so crazy. I'm a huge MJ fan. I think we all were. And so when he would walk in the room, we'd all get so excited. Watch him come in front of us and start singing and dancing and just being in his band and being accepted and working with him. It made me believe in myself more.
And the one guy that we got to replace the great David Williams, his name is Tommy Organ, great guitarist. Tommy probably was the last guy to come in, and he just, sound was there, his look was there, his spirit was there, he fit my family mold. He was the one.
I think I was like 4 or 5 years old. My father played guitar, and unfortunately he died in a car accident. And one day I looked in the corner and I saw his guitar and his amp sitting there. And so I just picked the guitar up and I started playing notes in the key of the song that was on the radio. And my mother came in the living room and said, "Man, that sounds good." And ever since then, it's nothing like having your own mother telling you that you sound good. So it influenced me to keep going. I played the solo to Heartbreak Hotel, and my wife said, "You know, that's when I first started believing in you, when you played that solo to Heartbreak Hotel. And we are still together this day." And that's 30 years later.
Just jamming out, me and Tommy, learning some of the funky rhythms and sort of R&B stuff was just new to me, so I learnt so much.
Everybody was just so humble. It was like, I used to tell Michael Bearden, we are meant to be together. Can't ask for no more. I can't say it too much.
There's only a few guys that I really like to play with keyboard-wise. And I said, let me call Morris. And I told him, well, look, I have this opportunity. I can just bring you in. You just got to come in and really kill it, though. You have to kick it. He said, yeah, what is that? It's Michael Jackson. He says, I'll be on the next flight.
I've known just about everybody in the band from other gigs that I've done over, my career. To have them all in the same band is incredible. It's a dream band. Michael Bearden does a great job, so everybody really finds their role. We're very comfortable with each other. We lead each other, give each other space to do what we're, good at doing.
Right there, where we're playing. The second half of that, more dynamic horns to end this thing on. There's a thing that goes, da, da. It's like a crescendo and a bend. I started playing piano when I was 5 and just graduated to what I call street university. I learned a lot of things in the street with different artists. I'm from the south side of Chicago, born and raised in Gary, Indiana, where they're from, the Jackson 5. It's not too far from where I grew up. So I would see them perform in a lot of places
in Chicago before they really hit it really big. And I mentioned that to MJ one day, and he just smiled. We had a good time talking about that.
That's what everybody's got to go crazy. And then Michael watching Jay.
Michael's music is so popular. And for musicians, you think it's simple until you start to play it, and you can really feel and see the complexity of it. That is the brilliance of Michael Jackson, making something complex feel simple.
I mean, we learned like 20 songs, maybe 22, 23 songs in a matter of about a week and a half. Within 2 to 3 weeks, those songs were completely tight. So we've taken to the music like a fish to water.
Michael Bearden pulled the band together in such a short span of time and have it this tight and this choreographed musically. I think it's really great and a testament to his talent.
We're working on the dance machine. Can you feel the DJ's all over that? We're just trying to figure out how to ease it.
The band is just a great group to be a part of, and it's such a treat to play with them.
We've kind of become this little family because we've been seeing each other now for, months at a time.
We had so many great moments and so many memories that, will just be with me forever.
You get all that energy and that synergy together, and it just explodes. I think Michael was very happy with the band.
Felt really great that the greatest entertainer that ever lived wanted me around. I felt that he needed me around. It was very rewarding and gratifying,
It's a beautiful feeling, Greatest feeling in the world for me. And I've been doing this for a long time, This one did it for me.
In addition to putting the band together, the musical director is also in charge of putting the vocalists together. There it is. We did an audition process, and we got some stellar vocalists.
We put together a group of people that I think comes closest to giving Michael the sound that he's used to, because it helps him to have that as a bed for him to sing to.
I did a lot of session work, but this is the biggest thing I've done. It's just an amazing experience.
It's challenging. Every song is such an extraordinary combination of music and dance and kicks my butt, but it's really cool.
The chemistry between us is wonderful, and you can't beat that.
I really was concentrating on the band, and I need somebody to help me bring into the fold some more singers. And so my first choice for this tour was Dorian Holley.
Michael Bearden called me one day. He asked me if I was interested in putting a group together for this tour. I said, yeah, I'd be happy to put together a group.
He has a lot of attention to detail that I like. He's the vocal coach for American Idol, among other things that he does.
Like most people that do this for a living, I started singing very young.
Pop it up, pop it up. Gotta pop it up. 1, 2, 3, 4.
The first music that I heard was in church, Calvary Baptist Church in Santa Monica. And I would sing harmony to whatever they were singing. My sister tells me I could always do that.
Dorian has worked with MJ on a few tours before, so he kind of knows what Michael wants to have behind him and how he wants to color Michael's voice.
From '87 up until this one, I've been lucky enough to do all of Michael's solo tours. And the very year of Michael Jackson's first solo tour, I met who would become my best friend, Daryl Finnessy. So, the first person I called was Daryl for this tour.
I've worked with Michael in the past. I worked with him on his other tours. So to be asked to come back again is certainly an honor.
When you have to do something this all-encompassing as Michael Jackson's music is, I need somebody to kind of cover my back. And anything that I might miss, Daryl is right on top of.
Started as a choir boy. It was a choice between becoming an altar boy or a choir boy. And so I was in the choir, St. Joseph's Church. At that time, we used to sing in Latin. I kind of think of myself as an artist, as a storyteller. I mean, I also act, and I write. I co-wrote the theme song for Frasier, those lyrics. and melody.
Michael has a very high voice, as we all know, and Daryl, he can match him note for note with MJ, and so he fits quite well.
You know, it's said that he's, one of the most phenomenal entertainers of all time. So to be a part of that is, to be a part of entertainment history.
Check. Hey.
We did an exhaustive audition process.
Hey.
And out of that process came Judith Hill.
My friend said that Michael Jackson is looking for singers, and he put my name and referred me in.
Dorian, do you need anything that we need to do or that you want to happen?
Yeah, I thought that we might audition Judith like 3 more times.
Dorian called me and said, man, we got this girl. You're really going to love her. So we came down and I heard Judith. I was like, yeah. She sang and she played guitar. She played piano. I just thought she was wonderful.
Well, both of my parents were musicians, so growing up, I was in a musical family. Being in LA, I've spent the last couple years doing a lot of sessions.
Whereas my first tour with Michael Jackson was only my second gig in the music business. It's really kind of cool now to be on this gig and have Judith come in and I'll be a mentor to her to try to help her navigate through how to do a gig like this.
Michael, I just can't stop loving you. I just can't stop loving you. Let me know when you're ready, Michael.
Doing a duet with Michael on I Just Can't Stop Loving You. It's just an amazing experience to be on stage with him. He's such an amazing artist. I just can't stop loving you. I mean, it's the biggest thing I've done, and it's the most exciting thing. It's a beautiful song, the lyrics, it's a love song, it's a love story, and to sing with him, the passion he gives to me, and just going back and forth with that, it's just a wonderful experience to be a part of, to be up there on stage singing that song. It's very cool. I mean, I'm just honored to be that person to sing with Michael there.
That's new. Tight. I know. I don't know what it is. Do we have to pop up through there?
That's where we come up.
That's where we go.
We also have Ken Stacy, who Dorian brought in, and Ken fits in quite well.
The phone rang out of the blue at midnight, and it was Dorian. I was like, Dorian, what's going on? It's like, hey, man, what do you think about touring with Michael Jackson? Whoa. I had no idea that I was going to have a profession as a singer, a musician. I knew I loved doing it, but that was not my aim. And I went to Cal State Northridge, which had an amazing music program. I was actually studying for law, psychology degree in economics. And I had some friends that were what would later be some very successful musicians. They would invite me out to sing with them at gigs, and then one thing led to another. And that was the beginning. My education was just kind of doing it, being out there with amazing musicians and kind of trial by fire. As singers, Daryl Finnessy, Dorian Hawley, and Judith Hill, they are extraordinary singers. And Michael Bearden, so to be a part of that group is quite an honor.
My working relationship with the vocalist is just marginally different than how I work with the musicians. I like repetition. I like for people to do their homework. Obviously, it's a different instrument if we do this as opposed to the instrument here. So I don't push them as much as I do the band. How does it feel? Usually Dorian will take them for me as I'm working the band, and he'll go work on specific things that I want them to get and notes that I get from MJ. I need this lower note on this song, or I need a little bit different color.
It's almost as if the two are opposites. The one's really long and swoopy and short, and the first one, he actually closes eventually. The second one he does is, don't say how, don't even say how. Okay. How does it? Because I think all of us together makes it sound like that. Sure. Take my name and just let me. How does it feel? One of the things I love about doing this gig, it gives me a chance to interact with all different sorts of voices. And that sort of background, it really helps when you come to something like Michael, because every one of his songs is different. One's a big gospel choir kind of vibe, and one is a tight, youngish sound. You have to dig the parts out. You have to find out what they are. There are only 4 of us, and Michael does very thick, very tight harmonies. I mean, he might have 6, he might have 7, he might have 8 notes on a group part. So what we've got to do is we've got to dig out the best 4 notes that represent the CD version. So we're just sorting it all out. We're finding out who sounds best on which part. On one song, Ken Stacy's up on top, way high, up on the girl's part. And on another song, Judith Hill is on the bottom, and the 3 boys are above her in terms of notes. Sometimes Judith is on top, sometimes Daryl is, sometimes I am. So we have to sort out which blend is best for which song.
The thing I love about MJ, though, he knows all of his vocal parts. He knows all of the background parts that he did pretty much basically all himself.
You don't know, that's a voice, that's my voice, but it's layered, it's 2 tracks. It's my voice of myself.
He still remembers all the rhythms, all the notes, all the intervals, all the everything. So when he hears something that's not right, he can tell me exactly what it is.
At least 2 or 3 times a tour, he turns around and he goes, that's not right. Those aren't the best notes. So he'll go, I need to hear that. Because that's what he needs to hear to go on, to make the song feed him.
Do you want to try it? All right, good. Okay.
So we're just trying to make it the best that it can be and do the best Michael Jackson imitation that we can.
Michael likes to do a lot of repetition of the show. You know, repetition until by the time that you get on the stage, the show is in your body. Daily, as you keep running the whole show, you start to begin to become the character that you are in the show, and that's really something special about working with Michael.
Michael Jackson's show is more like theater than it is anything else.
The whole big thing, and then I just thought that they would be doing their backup part, moving up and just add another dimension.
Okay, I thought it was prior to their vote.
The tour that I was on before, we did a little bit of the costume and the whole parade, but nothing like this. This is just like extravagant.
My job has always been to stand up and sing, and I never would have imagined having to incorporate acting and body movement, all the different things that are incorporated into conveying this extraordinary vision.
You know, you got to kind of act out certain characters. I mean, you kind of get to do a little bit of all that you can do.
It's challenging, but also it's one of those things where you are afforded the opportunity to grow in ways you didn't know you could or ever think that you would.
Special to me is get somebody like Michael who has what is probably the largest platform you could have to speak to people on this planet. And to put out a message to people that make people want to be better, I think that's what I really like the most about being a part of this.
I don't see it as just a tour of Michael. This is something larger than all of us.
It's really, really cool working with people that have just great energy. The blend is great, you know, and they have such a good reputation in the business, all of them, and so it's just great to just work alongside with them.
The great thing about this group is everybody's going in the same direction because it's about more than having the ability to sing. It's about more than having the ability to harmonize or blend. When all those spirits are together, it really makes for great music, and that's one of the things we have with this band.